Hi everyone, it's Jim here, and I've got Vicky from tutor2u Geography with me because we're very excited about a new resource that we've just made available, some knowledge retrieval packs for AQA GCSE Geography, and I thought the best person to tell me all about them is the person who's created them. Vicky, welcome.
Good morning.
And well, these knowledge retrieval packs are already proving really popular. Could you tell me a little bit about what the concept behind the resource, and then we've got a minute or two, so we can maybe even take a look.
Good. So they were initially created in response to lots of people asking on the Facebook page and the Twitter page about sort of help with creating sort of almost like starter activities, although we don't really refer to them as starter activities now. There's been a real sort of increase in the use of the term do it now activities. So as soon as a student comes into the classroom, you literally hand them something to do, or you have something on the board. So if we sort of think initially about those starters that have been around for 10, 15 years, the idea was that you'd get students would come in and you get their brains working as you came in. So the do it now is a little bit different in the sense that it's something that they get on with immediately as they come in the classroom. So we haven't got wasted time at the beginning when you're doing a bit of admin, waiting for a few more stragglers to come in, doing the register. The idea is that those students are focused. So when I first created Do It Now tasks a few years ago at my previous school, they were generally jog your memory, and they were just quick knowledge retrieval, maybe 4 questions on the board. What do you remember from last lesson? What do you remember from the week before? What do you remember about a concept? Whereas these ones are a little bit different, because although they have got knowledge retrieval in them, obviously rapid retrieval, there's a sort of an element of understanding and application as well. So obviously they're sort of testing those exam skills a little bit more. So some of them are 5 minutes, some of them are 10, some of them are 15. There's a real variety in these activities that we have created. And
Fantastic,
hopefully they will save teachers huge amounts of time.
I was just going to say, I mean, there's massive amount of effort gone into these, but massive time saver as well in terms of a ready to use, almost zero planning resource there, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely no planning whatsoever. There's 120 activities for each paper. So
wow.
That's
should we take a look?
Pretty good value.
Let's stick it on the screen. I've downloaded just one of the PowerPoints. These are all editable PowerPoints, aren't they? So and we've broken them up, I guess, by unit or by topic. This one is the living world. Is that a good choice I've made there?
Yeah. So second unit on paper 1, really popular unit with students as well.
Let's take a look. Here it is on screen. Yeah. So we've got a contents page there, which I guess is the second page in the PowerPoint. But how does this work? Because I think it's quite a smart solution, isn't it, in terms of getting straight to the activity you want?
So rather than having to scroll through the PowerPoint to get to the correct slide, because you might, although they are designed in sort of a unit and how you would teach it order, obviously you might not want to use it that way. You might want to use it, you might want to use something from the living world when you're in the middle of teaching urban challenges, for example, and doing a bit of interleaving that way. So you can get your contents page up on the screen, and there are 2 contents pages for each of these, because obviously there's 40 activities per PowerPoint. So you just have a look at the overview on the contents page here, look at which one you fancy doing and click on it, and it's hyperlinked. It will take you directly to the slide with the activity on that you want to use.
Okay, which one should we go for?
One of them, Jim.
Oh, you choose, Vicky, you choose.
Let's have a look at the one with the cute fennec fox. So right at the top in the middle.
Give me 3, yeah.
Yeah, give me 3. Excellent. So it zooms in. So Give Me 3 is quite a nice, sort of relatively easy challenge here. So firstly, we want 3 animals that live in hot deserts. So as part of the hot deserts unit, and obviously that's an option. So some of you will be using the hot deserts slide. Some of you will use cold environments, depending on which one you teach in your school. We want 3 animals that live in hot deserts, nice and simple. And then students just need to explain how each one has adapted to survive in the hot desert environment. So obviously we've got our application, that understanding there as well. We've given students here 10 minutes because we want them to do this well for 3 animals. And again, obviously you could extend this, so some of your students that work a little bit quicker, you could get them to think about just why each of those adaptations is so important in that environment. So then you can, once you've done that activity, you can click out again and it will take you back to the contents page. And you can choose another one.
Oh, I'm not going to have a go, but let's choose another one. What do we think? What should we go for?
What about Sketch It
Sketch It.
with
Okay.
the trees?
It's going to get me mouse here. Obviously, if I was on an interactive whiteboard, I would just touch the item on the screen. There he goes. Love it.
Excellent. So at the end of the hot deserts unit, there's some work on desertification, and one of them is about, or sort of part of that is about the strategies used to try and reverse the effects of desertification. So a really common case study that lots of students know is the Great Green Wall. So like we said on the screen here, it's an afforestation project. It's used to reduce the risk of desertification. And if you're not sure if you haven't heard of it, it's basically a massive project where countries have come together to grow this huge wall right across the Sahel in northern Africa. So the idea here is that it will obviously reverse those effects. So what we need to get students to think about here is just how it actually works. So rather than writing, so there's a real variety in these activities. Some of them writing, some of them are not, some of them are a bit more creative. What we've asked students to do here is to sketch a tree, and essentially we just want them to annotate all the ways that planting these trees is going to reduce the risk of desertification. So we've been looking for things like the fact that having a big tree canopy provides shade to the ground, so it stops the ground drying out so much, it protects it from the sun. We've also got the idea here of the roots binding the soil together, which reduces the risk of soil erosion, and we've got the fact that the leaf litter dropping onto the ground will break down eventually. So when it decomposes, it will put nutrients back into the ground. So that's the sort of thing that we are looking for here. And the idea there, obviously, is getting them to sketch them. It just gets sort of plants it a little bit more, that idea in their heads. It's a bit more, it's a bit easier for them to remember.
And just looking at the slide there, obviously these are all editable, aren't they? So if, for example, you wanted to allow students to have 10 minutes, you could just edit the slide, or 5 minutes if you really wanted them to work quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And depending on all of them. Oh, sorry, Vicky. Yeah.
So I was thinking, like, obviously, the individual teachers know exactly how, they know their students. Some classes are going to work much quicker than others. Some of them are going to need a little bit longer.
Yeah, got it. And also, are there some suggested answers to some of these activities? I guess some of them don't really have an answer, do they? But
so pretty much most of them have got suggested activities. If you just click on what can you remember?
Okay.
There's a couple of those on there.
There are, aren't there? Why don't we do
for the ones that have a stopwatch on?
Yeah, okay.
So these ones don't, because these are essentially about the case study that you have specifically chosen for your class.
Yeah.
Apart from that, most of the others do have suggested activities, which, for most geography teachers isn't particularly necessary, but we do appreciate that there are lots of non-specialists out there who are teaching GCSE geography, and for them it's handy to have those in, and they're in the notes section. So students won't be able to see them up on the screen, but obviously you can see them as you're going through.
Wow. Fantastic. What an amazing resource. And there's 120, 140 or so. I suppose it might depend on the paper, but hundreds, over 100 activities to
so
use.
There's 100. So I think there's 160 on this one, but because of optionality, you wouldn't use all of them. There's 120 that you would personally use for you. So like we said, they're really good for starter activities, but I thought they were also pretty useful. So you could actually put them on like Google Classroom or whatever you use with your classes, and you could set them for homework. A couple of them you could get students to do for a week. So it's like a revision, an independent revision aid. There's also things that you could do with the resource.
Oh. Amazing. It's instant digital download, isn't it? So literally once you've got the order, you get a link to download it. And if we extend them or edit them, you'll always get the latest version as well when you download the file. So I think it's an amazing format. And as I say, so much work's gone into creating them, but just think of all the time saving that's going to be achieved from our teaching.
There's hours and hours. Classroom. Yeah, that you don't need to do yourself. So that's a bit of a winner.
Too right. Give them a try for one. See what you think. Let us know on the Facebook groups or on Twitter what you think of the resource, and maybe even give us some a photo of them on the whiteboard in action. That'd be even better. Looking forward to seeing how people are using them. Vicky, many thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.